Good evening, folks. This is Diamond from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project on Tuesday, October 24th at 8:34 p.m. Mountain Time, 2017. Giving you a grand solar minimum update. What you're looking at is a strong, very deep M6 earthquake hitting off the coast of Indonesia. Very deep. How deep is it? Well, if we come over here and look at the depth of this, it's at 549 kilometers. It's this quake right here. Just move my cursor here. 549, very deep. These happen at subduction plates where an oceanic plate is going over a continental plate, or deep oceanic subduction. The deepest recorded earthquake ever was recently broken. It was the Bolivian quake, around 605 kilometers, set back in 1994, but it was broken May 24th, 2013, with a massive 8.3 trembler that struck in Kamchatka, up there in Russia, tip of the Aleutians. And that was at 609 kilometers. So this is a deep, deep quake of note. The deepest quakes have all occurred in the last few years. Interesting. Let's take a look at the earthquake map again, and you'll notice a lot of activity up here in the Aleutians, especially in this area. I want to show you something very interesting, and I told you that as this storm, the Typhoon Land, departed, we should look for quakes up in this area. And you could see all these quakes. There's 5 quakes popped off here today. You could see where the low pressure is, right at the tip of Kamchatka. Let's put it where it is right now. And it's right over the tip of the islands here, the low, which is where all these quakes are banging off. So there's a direct relationship to the earthquakes occurring over this earth spot. I just wanted to point that out. It's happening right now. Let's talk about the deadliest quakes. The deadliest quake that ever happened was in 1556, killing almost 1 million people and a magnitude of approximately 8. It happens to fall right here during the last solar minimum, grand solar minimum, in the beginning of the Maunder minimum, during the middle of the Little Ice Age. It was during this low right here that happened. Let's talk about severe weather and flooding. This storm that just hit went through the Carolinas. There's around 100,000 people without power. You have to see some of the pictures. Look at the destruction here. According to the National Weather Service, 7 tornado sightings were reported across the Carolinas on Monday as a line of severe storms swept through the region, bringing much needed rain, but 100,000 people have no electric. Eight people were treated for minor storm-related injuries. 18-wheelers were tossed. Look at the flooding. That's increased cosmic rays. These types of storms are only going to get worse. If you come and look, just Google flooding. There's records everywhere. There's record flooding I reported on in West Michigan and record rain, and that continues today. There's flood alerts in West Michigan. There was record rainfall for the salt in areas, Environmental Canada says. Look at the Salt River. That's St. Mary's River, my bad. So that's from the atmospheric river that came over Cascadia there. Let's get into some of the climatic nonsense in the headlines. Frozen Earth. The planet got warm after frequent volcano eruptions melted the last ice age. I don't even want to get into the problems with this, but volcanic eruptions do not cause warming. They cause cooling. Everybody knows this, every geologist and everyone else in climate science. This is nonsense, but this is what the mainstream media puts out, nonsense, so the masses can read garbage and get completely brainwashed because they don't even know the difference between up and down. Moving on, the difference between up and down. Arctic sea ice may be declining faster than expected. Study. Again, this is absolute nonsense. Arctic ice currently, at this moment, is growing faster and has exceeded 1971 levels. There are over 9 other years with less ice than this year, and the Antarctic has record high ice levels. So how it's declining at all is ridiculous. But that's the mainstream media, ridiculous. That's the definition. Volcano update today. Dukono is erupting. Ibico is erupting. Sinabung ash report. Tinakula. Ongoing low-level eruption. Reventador, volcanic ash advisory. Sabancaya, Peru, volcanic ash advisory. Let's talk about space weather as we close here. Guys, this northern coronal hole, we were waiting for the stream for this to hit. And like the last northern coronal hole, it's coming in pulses. So you can see the speed come up today. Here is the coronal hole hitting and it's pulsing. High, high. What that's doing is it's sending us into geomagnetic storm, which we'll probably go in and out of for the next 12 hours. So expect K5 coming in and out for the next 12 hours. The magnetogram is slightly screwy, and we are in level 3 radiation storm currently, and it's still dropping. So here's level 2, here's level 3. So we're headed to level 3 radiation storm. It's a heads up on that. As far as the plasma filaments on the surface, since these areas turned Earth-facing, they've calmed down. You can see that one little piece of quick activity right here. You're going to see a little bit of activity right here. Wait for it. There'll be a surge. And that's probably what we're seeing right here. So nothing major coming off the sun as far as X-ray flux, but we do have in the impact of the coronal hole stream and wind speed, and with our weakened magnetosphere, that sends us into geomagnetic storm every time. And we've already seen a spike up to 5 here, and I would expect that to go in and out over the next 12 hours. Heads up on that. Guys, we have some strong, very deep earthquakes kicking off, approaching some records. And we have weather breaking records everywhere with flooding and rain and increased cosmic rays. Scenes like this are going to be the norm. Be safe.